Brothers, here I sit inside of my car today as I converse with you today about something that's super important in this process. A few weeks ago, at the time that I'm recording this, one of the men that I've been coaching, one of you, asked me this one question. And this comes from the perspective of a Christian. This comes from a perspective of somebody who believes in Jesus Christ and believes in his saving power. He simply asked me this question: where does the atonement, where does Jesus Christ fit into all of this? Because he said, on one hand, I can believe that if I'm doing all of this work, psychologically, physically, and everything else, that this is helping me to release something subconsciously that's going on, and that I'm getting some healing as a result of the efforts that I'm doing. But on the other hand, I have this belief in something bigger. And I don't know where it all fits. And so I wanted to address that with you now. Look, as it stands right now, your life is one that is unmanageable, is the way they put it in the addiction recovery programs, but it's one that's hard for you to cope with. And the only way that you've found to cope with the life is some form of addiction. Porn, sex, drugs, whatever that form of addiction is. Most of the guys I've dealt with so far, and for me, it was pornography and masturbation. And that was where I went to help me escape life, to help me escape the problems I was having in life. And it did. It helped me to release some things. It helped me let go of some things so that I could cope. Of course, it brought all kinds of shame and guilt and everything else. And over the course of time, when I finally started working on this with real effort, consistently, training and learning with all the things that I had learned, going to energy healing and training for several years with other various forms of healing methods, doing coaching seminars and martial arts work and other forms of body work and massage, learning about my mind processes and doing Zen mindfulness, and as well as going to 12-step programs and seeking help in every way that I could. In the process, here's what happened. For me, I had been free of pornography for a while. I was still afraid of it. This much you will find out as we talk through some of the content in this course. But I had been free of pornography for a while. And I was still afraid of it, still afraid of what it would do for me, still afraid of being in the room alone with a computer for extended periods of time with internet access, afraid of having a smartphone, not sure what would happen if I ever encountered it on my own. And my life was very narrowed down. And I was seeking a way out, and I was following all of the instructions that I got from inspiration to myself, and as well as with the other training and the other things that I had been learning. Then one day it happened. I was in this car. I was driving down the freeway on the US 60, just down here in the middle of Mesa, Arizona. I was driving home from teaching at ASU, where I teach Kung Fu, Tai Chi, as well as some Russian Systema martial arts there. I'm driving home on my way home from class, and I'm about a mile from the exit to get off the freeway. My mind is wandering between all of the things going on in my life and all of the struggle I have to constantly maintain what was called sobriety. And then on that freeway, it washed over me like a wave from the ocean. A sudden and very real understanding, and a voice of sorts that I felt rather than heard entered into my being, not just my mind. And it basically said this: I just want you to know that you are healed now, and you are no longer an addict. And I can't explain what I felt very well in that moment, because nothing on the outside really changed. But on the inside, there was this sense of a shift, a sudden exhilaration at knowing and realizing that I was free from addiction. And from that point on, instead of introducing myself at meetings that I was facilitating as, "Hi, I'm Bob, and I'm addicted to pornography," I had to come up with another solution to honor that. I had to say, "My name is Bob, and I've had a lot of experience with pornography addiction," or "My name is Bob, and I've been healed from it." And the thing is that healing was associated with a name in my experience, and the name was Jesus Christ. Now, for some of you who aren't Christian, you may have different names for these aspects of divinity. You may not believe in Jesus, but you may believe in another being that was here to save. I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not believe. I can only speak from my own experience, and my own experience simply said this: I did a whole lot of work, and none of that work healed me from addiction. But all of that work opened me up and prepared me to have this one experience down the line that allowed me to feel free. Now, I've spoken with other men, and there aren't that many of them, but men who themselves are good, clean, and clear and not really suffering. And it didn't happen the same for all of them. Some of them are content to live their life feeling like it'll never go away because they feel like it's a gift to them because it keeps them vigilant. Some of them, it came on kind of gradually. For me, I had no intention of being an addict for the rest of my life. And I don't want to take that away from people who do. A lot of people find a lot of identity and power in identifying themselves as an addict because it gives them a sense of purpose, it gives them a sense of drive, and it helps to define the limits and borders of their experience in a way that gives them direction and control. It helps them understand how to function on a very real level. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to be an addict for the rest of my life. I wanted to be free. I wanted to graduate from recovery so that I could actually go and do something in the world and follow the desires of my hearts without constantly being worried about running into something pornographic or being so stressed out that I needed to go to masturbation in order to be able to handle things. So there I was with this intention in my heart. And some years into it, I had this experience. Now, I can't promise you that you'll have the same experience that I had because I wasn't in control of that experience. I was in control of the work that I did. But I can tell you two things that I learned here and have you consider that, one, your intention going into this is going to determine a lot of what you get out. Meaning, if you intend to do all the work that is in front of you and to do it sincerely and wholeheartedly with all the questions in your mind that are naturally going to come up, with all the problems where you're going to be like, this is stupid, all that comes up, but you do it wholeheartedly, and if you will have that intention with the intention also that you will be free from this and know that you are free, that will guide your experience. On the other hand, if you show up and you have the intention that what you want is for me to save you and for me to make you free so that you can go back to your life as it was, just taking the porn and the addiction out, then there is nothing that we can do to help you in this program. Because no one can save you except you doing the work and being open to healing that happens from something bigger. And so that brings on this final piece that needs to be discussed, and that is the question of where healing comes from. You're healing from an addiction, no different than somebody might be healing from a car accident. So where does healing come from? Every doctor on this planet can stitch you up if you get a gash, but those doctors do not regrow your skin. You do. And Western medicine alone, they talk about a patient responding to treatment or not. And this is because there is something other than the doctor that is healing you. Now, old traditions of medicine all across the planet, from the Chinese to the Ayurvedic, all the way across to Native American medicine and shamanic religions and the kahunas out in the islands of the Pacific, as well as up into Russia and some of these other areas that have a lot of traditional medicine still moving among the people. For millennia, these people have believed the same thing, that healing ultimately arises from something inside. Whatever this wisdom is inside of ourselves that is keeping us alive, that is constantly maintaining our body's function and everything else and giving us a shot at life. And ultimately, that's where your healing will come from. It's not going to come from outside. No one's going to heal you. It has to come from you opening yourself up, literally tearing off all of the bandages and all of the labels that are on this little bottle of life that you call you, so that you can actually see inside the bottle to what's there and allow that to come out and heal you. Now, for me, that experience was associated with the name of Jesus Christ. And if that's what the atonement of Jesus Christ means, all I can tell you is that it was a profound experience, and that for me, that name and that being has power. And that all of the effort and all the work that I did in all of the different areas didn't do anything to heal me, but that what did on the other end was it did open me up to have this one experience that solidified the whole process and allowed me to realize that I was free. And I hope that you have an experience like that. I really do. And all of the processes that I went through to get me to that point are what I'm sharing with you. But that means you're going to have to pay attention to what's going on inside. You're going to have to seek to find that other greater being outside of yourself. Your addiction is bigger than you. Your life is bigger than you. And only in tapping into a power that is bigger than you are you really going to find the help that will bring you to a place of freedom. You might get to a place of sobriety, but freedom is going to come from something bigger, from you acquiring more power than you now have. And that comes from outside of you, like this other wisdom that is given to you inside. It's this deep power that I find when I sit on the roof every day and I watch the sunset and I feel something bigger than me, helping me along and filling me with life that allows me to be healed. So hopefully that answers the question about this idea of Christianity and atonement and freedom and healing. It's a convoluted topic. I would love to hear how it shows up for you. And I look forward to hearing about your experiences as you go through this. It might not happen in 3 months. It might take 1.5 years or 2 years or 3 years like it did for me. I don't even remember the exact place on the scale where it happened. I think it was between 1.5 years and 2 years. I would love to shortcut the process. But in the meantime, while you are looking for that type of experience, what you are acquiring throughout the rest of this program are the tools and skills that you need to be able to understand your psychology, to be able to open yourself up, to be able to be free as much as possible of the demands of your life and like what they do to you, to be able to handle your emotions, to be able to handle stress, to be able to like show up as a father and how you show up and improve the relationship with your kids, or show up as a husband and how you can show up and actually mend the relationship that you have with your wife. Overall, reducing the amount of strain that your life puts on you by building a life that matters in such a way that it doesn't accumulate so much stress that you find the need to go to addictive or compulsive behaviors in order to relieve yourself. And as you're building this life, still holding the intention of complete healing and complete freedom, this is where this inner life will show up. And so as you'll see throughout this process, we've got stuff that we're going to do on a daily basis to build your life in your body and in your soul and in your clan. Ultimately then creating a life at the end where you can play, where you can build something that matters to you. The soul piece is a critical piece because that's what connects you to something much bigger. So even though you might not like the meditation, or you might have a hard time with seeking revelation, don't skip it. Because you have to plug into the wall to get the power. If not, you're on limited battery life. And I know that place too well. So I urge you, as you consider healing completely from this, to take the whole process in as the work that will open you up to this deeper realization of freedom.